Shalom, giving all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Hakodash, double honors unto the elders and apostles of Great Millstone of Orwell, and Shalom to the 144,000 elect men of the nation of Israel and the rest of the elect destined to be saved. I'm the brother Caleb from the GMS UK London Forecasters Camp, back with another lesson to help edify those of which I spoke of. So I'm going to jump right into this lesson. This is a story from Manchester Evening News. It says, young man paid to take drugs live on Snapchat died after consuming illicit substance imported from China. Harry DeRose, 21, died after taking a dangerous new synthetic drug from China bought with Bitcoin from the dark web. Now, the reason why so there's the guy there. Looks like he could be an Edomite, don't know. But the reason why I'm getting into this article, because it's a good example of how pride goeth before destruction and a haughty spirit before a fall. Let's read the article. It says, a troubled young man who believed he was an expert in drugs. See, this is where the pride aspect kicks in. A young troubled man who believed he was an expert in drugs died after he consumed an illicit substance he imported from China via the dark web, said to be 1,000 times more potent than morphine. Harry DeRose became so fascinated by drugs, he was even paid by his followers who would watch him consume them live on Snapchat. You know, there's another scripture that comes to mind there. Folly is set in great dignity. An inquest into his death was told. Harry, who had a history of mental health difficulties, was found dead on a bed in his room in a supported accommodation in Hyde on March the 3rd this year. He was 21. After spending time in hospital after being sectioned under the Mental Health Act, Harry was placed in accommodation run by a non-for-profit organisation, Creative Support, where he was prescribed medication and his prescribed medication was kept under lock and key. But he died in his room after taking a dangerous synthetic opioid he had sourced on the dark web, paid for with Bitcoin, imported from China, and after messaging the seller on a Russian-based communications app Telegram, an inquest heard. He believed he was purchasing alprazolam, often referred to by the trade name Xanax. But the blood tests following his death showed the presence of nitazines, an illegal and deadly synthetic opioid which has been linked to dozens of deaths across the UK. Following his death, police searched his room and found a packaged and 2 clear plastic bags containing a peachy-coloured powder which tests revealed contained nitazines. Detective Inspector Ruth Hunt told the inquest at Stockport's Coroner's Court on Wednesday. Officers also analysed 2 iPhones found at the scene, and they found that 2 weeks before the death, Harry had been messaging someone called Jessica and had said how excited he was as he waited for a package to be delivered from China, said D.I. Hunter. He was said to have told Jessica he was buying Xanax and that it was coming straight from the lab in China. The pair also discussed how to take the drug, which came in a powder form, the court was told. The analysis also revealed communication via Telegram, a communication platform, with the seller of the drugs in China, in which Harry was a little bit concerned the items would not get through UK customs checks because of the amount he was buying, the court was told. The officer said the messages revealed Harry was purchasing the drugs for his personal use. The court heard a nationwide investigation into importation of nitazines was continuing. A label on the package suggested it had come from Birmingham once it had been smuggled from China, said the officer. D.I. Hunter told the court it had not been established how Harry found the seller, but they had communicated via Telegram, a communications app based in Russia. Registered mental health nurse Rachel Statham, Harry's care coordinator, who had 4 appointments with him said of him, "He was really open. He really struggled to lie. He was a really honest person and would tell you anything, and if he was using substances." Harry was interested in drugs and believed he had a high tolerance. See, there's the pride. "Despite my warnings that was not the case," said Miss Statham. He was fascinated about how much he could take. See, the pride led him into believing he could take more than he could. The witness said Harry had revealed he had a following of people on Snapchat who would pay him and watch him take drugs live. She said he felt like these people were his friends. So he was doing it for the clout, doing it for the clicks, the likes. Again, feeding into that pride and ego. We had to have certain conversations with him. I had to make him realize that these people weren't his friends. It's not how friends treat you, she said. It worried her that Harry was buying drugs off the dark web or street deals. She recalled a conversation with him and also that she handed him a leaflet which explained where he could get further support. "I felt he needed to know the risks of buying things off the dark web and did hope it would stop him doing so," she said. Another mental health nurse, Delia French, also said Harry believed he was an expert. See the pride? An expert in drugs, and that he took them for 3 reasons: to ease the pain caused by hypermobility, a chronic condition which left him suffering pain in his legs from childhood, to treat anxiety, and for fun. His mother, Namie DeRose, cried in court as she described her son. "He was lovely. He was such a sweet, caring boy." Harry suffered terrible pain in his legs from the age of 8 or 9 because of hypermobility, a chronic condition in which joints are abnormally flexible, she said. "They ached all the time. He had trouble sleeping. He could not really play sports. He did struggle with it a hell of a lot," she said, Mrs. DeRose, who added her son was formally diagnosed with the condition when he was aged 13 or 14. As he grew, his pain got worse and worse, she said, adding that she thought although he would walk, when he went away on family holidays, they took a wheelchair. Mr. Rose said her son struggled with his mental health for as long as I can remember, adding that although he had tests, he was never formally diagnosed with autism. He most definitely had autistic tendencies. He was a lovely boy but wasn't quite right. He would get so obsessed with everything, she said, describing how her son's fascinations were reptiles, then computers, and later drugs. She agreed, her son regarding himself as an expert on drugs. Again, the pride. And went on, he was a nightmare because he was so open about drugs, and would even tell her he was expecting a delivery of drugs in the post. It was very difficult keeping him in check, she said, adding that her son told me everything. Mr. Rose said her son texted her every day while he was at his supported accommodation in Hyde. He wasn't suicidal. He was excited about plans to watch US TV series Criminal Minds and had wanted a soundbar to go with his TV, although he had complained he was being bullied by another resident. Becoming upset, she said, "The last thing he said to me is, 'I'll speak to you in the morning,' and when I rang him the next morning, his phone was off." She said her son had revealed to her that he had purchased Xanax from China, but was worried he had bought the wrong amount. Harry's father, Gareth DeRose, told the court that their relationship was very difficult at times for various reasons, and that have been well litigated throughout his short life. When they did have contact, his son was always happy and apparently enjoyed playing the ball together, he said. There's not much more to this article. No, there is. Let me get into the drug part. his son was a victim of a trauma at the age of 8 or 9. He said he described another occasion when he said his son had gone to strangle me. He said he was aware of his son's mental health struggles from 2022, but his son had never mentioned using illicit drugs. Mr. Duros had described visiting his son in hospital after his son had been sectioned under the Mental Health Act, and hearing his son say he wanted to get out and destroy the world, and that he had killed his child even though he had no children. Contact between the pair was limited, so Mr. DeRose adding that his son texted him every month. A pathologist conducted a post-mortem examination and concluded Harry had died of pulmonary aspiration due to synthetic opioid toxicity. A blood test revealed traces of the painkiller tramadol, diazepam, olanzapine, and also protonitazine. The court was told the nitazines are a toxic synthetic opioid 1,000 times more powerful than morphine, which was even more toxic when taken in combination with tramadol. Manchester South Area Coroner Chris Morris said the death had been a tragedy, adding that Harry had been described in court as a very loving, caring young man. He was obviously someone who was fiercely intelligent, very interesting, and I get the sense that in his own unique way, he was quite quirky as well. Harry was clearly a complex person with more than his fair share of troubles. Harry was afflicted with pain from his mobility issues and also had significant mental health problems, having twice been sectioned for long periods under the Mental Health Act and undergone very frightening episodes of psychotic illness, said the coroner. Mr. Morris said the background to Harry's health problems were not fully understood, and that he had heard a significant amount of evidence about Harry's misuse of medicines that were not prescribed to him. Harry took medication to treat his pain, but his relationship with the medicine was far more complex than the pain relief, said the coroner. He regarded himself as something of an expert in drugs and became very interested in pharmacological issues. Again, the pride. Let me get the precept on this, because I think I've read enough to establish what the deal is. This is the one I want. It says Proverbs 16 and 18. Pride goeth before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. So this young man considered himself to be something of an expert in drugs, but that pride ended up leading to his destruction because he ended up buying a substance off the dark web, which ended up killing him. And he thought himself to be an expert and to know what he was doing. The next precept I want to get is because he was doing it on Snapchat, and people were sending him money to take drugs. That's like what do they call it, car crash television. You know, people just watching to see the destruction. This is Sirach 10 and verse 6. No, not Sirach. Ecclesiastes 10 and verse 6. Forgive me. It says, folly is set in great dignity, and the rich sit in low place. So this is the folly of the world, man. And he thought these people on Snapchat were his friends. But you know, these people weren't his friends. This is Jeremiah 2 in verse 33. Why trimmest thou thy way to seek love? Therefore hast thou also taught the wicked ones thy ways. So there's the point. Why trimmest thou thy way to seek love? He was looking to seek love from these people people on Snapchat who were paying to see him take these drugs and destroy himself, and he thought they were his friends. He was trimming his way to seek love. Why trimmest thou thy way to seek love? The precepts are really important in terms of how to live a good life, or how to live a successful life on the earth. If he'd given heed to these precepts, he might still be alive this day. But it was the judgment of the Lord that he got destroyed in the manner in which he did. But us, we could learn from this example. This is an example of how not to live our lives. We who are of the hopeful elect, we adhere to these scriptures and we adhere to these precepts and we apply them in our everyday lives, and it keeps our foot from trouble and danger. This is Exodus 23 and verse 2. Thou shalt not follow a multitude to do evil, neither shalt thou speak in a cause to decline after many to wrest judgment. Alright, so that's the precepts I had on deck. If we go back to the article, it says he regarded himself as something of an expert in drugs and became very interested in pharmacological issues. He developed an intellectual attachment to them as much as anything else, said Mr. Morris. But he noted that Harry had been making plans prior to his death, ruling that he had not intended to take his own life. Recording in his conclusion that the death was drug-related, Mr. Morris has said that Harry ingested a synthetic opioid, having thought he had purchased Xanax online from overseas. He said there was no evidence that Harry had intended to take his life. So he thought himself an expert. Let me find, there's one more precept that comes to my mind. Let me see if I can find it. Bear with me, I'm just looking for a precept here. Proverbs 12 and 15 is a good one. Not exactly what I was looking for, but it's a good one. The way of the fool is right in his own eyes, but he that hearkeneth unto counsel is wise. So the way of the fool is right in his own eyes. This guy, thought himself to be an expert in drugs, but he was really a fool. Yeah, another good one, Proverbs 14 and 16. Come on, turn the flipping page. A wise man feareth and departeth from evil, but the fool rageth and is confident. So these scriptures sum up this. There's so many good ones. This is Proverbs 26 and 12. Seest thou a man wise in his own conceit? There is more hope for a fool than of him. Yeah, that's enough. Um, one more, Romans 1 and 22. This is professing themselves to be wise, they became fools. So that's what this character did here. He thought himself an expert, and he ended up destroying himself as a result of it. And that's what happens with pride. You know, pride goeth before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. So I just thought this article would be interested to bring out those precepts more than it was edifying. So with that, giving all praises, honor and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Hakodash, double honors unto the elders and apostles of great most and all well. Shalom to the 144,000 elect men of the nation of Israel and the rest of the elect destined to be saved. And I'll catch you on the next lesson, Lord willing. Shalom for now.